In these uncertain economic times, you've got to do whatever you can to save money. One of our biggest expenses can be our cars, especially when unexpected repair bills hit. Not anymore. If you own a vehicle with less than 130,000 miles, is less than 12 years old, has a warranty about to expire, or even no warranty at all, you could stop paying for car repairs. Roadside assistance, towing, and rental coverage are all included. Don't wait for the next repair. Make one free call right now to see if you qualify. If your vehicle is less than 12 years old, has less than 130,000 miles, even if it's out of warranty, paying for car repairs can become a thing of the past. Call us right now and get your car protected before your next repair bill hits. Get protection and no more repair bills. Call 800-696-1030. Again, 800-696-1030. That's 800-696-1030. 800-696-1030.
Joe had huge problems with the IRS.
I knew it was coming. I hadn't filed taxes since 1990.
All the IRS letters coming in added up to a nightmare.
To get up to like $68,000, my heart started beating fast. It's like, there's no way, man. I mean, I ain't going to be able to do this.
Then they stopped his paycheck.
So that's when I started making phone calls and found U.S. Tax Shield.
U.S. Tax Shield went to work immediately.
They just took the bull by the horns. What blew my mind is he called the IRS right then and there.
So why is U.S. Tax Shield A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau? Joe knows.
They saved me a ridiculous amount of money.
If you owe more than $10,000 to the IRS or state, choose the company Joe chose, U.S. Tax Shield.
It was the best decision I made. U.S. Tax Shield is the way to go. Life is good. Thank you, Lord.
Call 800-471-3287.
U.S. Tax Shield. Boo-rah. Yes.
800-471-3287. 800-471-3287.
The Internet will never be the same. You're listening to K98Talk.com.
Whoa! Good God, y'all. What is it good for? Absolutely. Now get set again. Just a good old boy. Never meaning no harm.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Ann and Frank Show. We're actually here with Ann today. I'm pretty excited. Do I sound a little too loud, Ann?
You don't sound loud at all to me.
Oh, okay.
And I don't have the chat today because my computer is special needs.
Well, we're doing what we can. I got the board boosted. Anyway, let's just get to the show. If you didn't notice, I did start with the Dukes of Hazzard theme, which...
I did notice that.
Yeah, it's a great song. Well, you know, I was going to cover, and we are going to cover, the Confederate flag. I told Ned, he's going to be here in about 15 or 20 minutes, so we're going to start the show without him, and he's at his nephew's birthday party.
Fun.
Yeah, he loves his nephews. But I told him we were going to talk about the Confederate flag, and his response, he goes, boring, which is a great thing to tell an insecure guy like myself right before I go on air. But I think it's fascinating. He can go fuck himself. And the reason I played the Dukes of Hazzard is because, you know, there's this debate about whether they should take it off, you know, government buildings in the South and blah, blah, blah. And I've been pretty neutral about it. I see the positives and negatives of both sides about taking the Confederate flag down. In fact, I would say, this will probably surprise our audience, which is largely right-wing, especially now that we're on K98 Talk and Bunny's been pimping us out. They're probably not going to like that I, for the most part, agree with the takedown of the Confederate flag, but there is a point, like anything, when things go too far, and also I recognize that taking down a flag doesn't all of a sudden make racism disappear. You know, it's a symbol, it's an act, a symbolic act. Sometimes those are very, very impactful, sometimes they're completely meaningless. Time will tell on this one. But they did poll, I don't know if you know this, Ann, they polled episodes of the Dukes of Hazzard, a show that I grew up on. I'm 37 years old. That was my favorite show when I was a kid. And if you remember, they had this badass, I think it was a 68 or 69 Dodge Charger called the General Lee. And it was orange. Yeah, it was like, that's the only reason I watched the show as a boy. It was total car porn. And on the top...
That's how you hopped into your toy cars as a little boy, too, I'm sure.
I still try and get in my car that way. I'm too fat to try it. But they're polling episodes of the Dukes of Hazzard off of, I believe it's TV Land, because at the top of the General Lee on the car is the Confederate flag, the Southern Cross as it's called. And it says General Lee. And they pulled it off the air. And I can, again, I can understand taking it off government buildings. I understand what it represents. I understand the outrage. But really, the fucking Dukes of Hazzard, like, they weren't on the TV every week going, let's go burn some niggers. You know what I mean? Like, they were rescuing people. They were like, they were good old boys, never meaning no harm. And there's nothing in that show that pushes a racist agenda that I can remember. They didn't own slaves or anything like that. It was fucking like, it was a kid show, for Christ's sakes. And to get offended by the Confederate flag to the point where you can't even look on it, a painting on top of a car off a boys show, is ridiculous. So, that's kind of, I'll get more into it, but that's basically my summation of it.
But if you support taking it down, which you said you did, then that's what's going to happen. It's going to come down everywhere.
Well,
so you really shouldn't support them taking it down, because it will affect things that happened in history, like Dukes of Hazzard, which seems so minuscule, but it's a show of our generation that we love, and it coming off the air because some people are offended by the flag really bothers me. Like, absolutely bothers me. It's stupid. And it sounds so first world problems.
I know.
Don't take our show off, but it really sucks because I just can see the domino effect, and that's the first one right there. It's going to be everywhere. But then there's people like in Oklahoma City that greeted our President of the United States, who is African American, with Confederate flags to make a horrible racist point, I'm assuming, or make a stand. But people like that are why I sometimes do support that it should come down, because they just have no self-control. Well, and again, the Confederate flag, the part I support is it being taken down off City Hall and government buildings in the South, not because the flag represents racism, although I guess you could make that argument. To me, that flag represents rebellion. And the South in the Civil War, for those of you who don't know your history, from 1861, I hope I got these dates right, as I rag on people for not knowing their history. I'm pretty sure it was 61 to 65, 1861 to 1865, and the South tried to secede from the Union. They didn't agree with the North. The North and them did not agree. Slavery was a huge issue. It was not the only issue. And yes, the South fought to preserve the, should we say, the ideals that they believed in. And one of those was owning slaves. That doesn't mean that people in the North didn't own slaves. In fact, Northern generals like Sherman and even Grant, through the entire Civil War, had slaves. A lot of people don't talk about that. But as they're fighting to abolish slavery and preserve the Union, slaves running maps back and forth. And they didn't get rid of them until the war was over. So it's not fair to say the South was all for slavery and the North was like this wonderful abolitionist place of peace and freedom. Yeah, I thought I heard the statistics for the South was that 2 out of 5 of the Confederate Southerners owned slaves. Yeah. So 3 out of 5 did not, which is the majority. Right. If I'm correct. I really think I just read that in my brain. No, that's accurate. That's an accurate stat. Again, to own slaves, you got to have money, and for a country to survive, not 100% of the population can have money. You need working class. You need poor people. Flat out disagreed with it. There were Confederate residents. I don't know if they'd call themselves Confederates, but they were. They lived in that region, and they did not support slavery. They thought it was wrong, and they were the ones that made a stand, and probably later they are the ones that later did for civil rights time. Yeah, and again, they were from the South. Everything, it's just always stupid to look at history, or anything really. It's kind of been my point on a lot of things I've talked about, black and white. Like to just go, they're the bad people, they're the good people. It's always much, much more intricate than that. And the Civil War is one of those cases where you should not look at black and white. It's not slavery in the South, and Lincoln was this great emancipator. In fact, a lot of people believe the reason he freed the slaves with the Emancipation Proclamation was just to fuck over the South, to fuck up their economy. It wasn't like, from in his deep in his heart, he felt it was wrong. But again, they'll say he owned slaves and parented children with slaves. I don't know if he did. That was Jefferson. Yeah, you don't know your history. This is why women shouldn't talk on talk shows. No, no, but right? All I'm saying is, if you're taking it down off a government building, forget the racist and slave shit. The fact that it represents a rebellion, a large part of the population tried to secede from America. They did not like America, and they lost the war. And this is not history that can be argued. That's what happened. So when you put your flag on an American government building in America of a confederacy, you're basically putting up a rebel flag, and I don't support that. Fuck the ideals of the South. That's a whole other conversation. But the reason I support taking down the Confederate flag is because it's a rebellious
flag, not because of its position on slavery. I just want to say that. However, it is important to note, while I'm saying, oh, everyone's, not fully evil, it is in the Southern doctrine, when they did secede, that they did say on paper that they do believe the quote-unquote Negro to be an inferior species. And that's why it's okay for them to keep them as slaves. So as much as I'm painting this picture like, hey, we should look at this with a little bit more open eye, you can't ignore the fact that that is pretty much the definition of racism, to say, yes, it's okay to keep slaves because they're not human, because of their skin color. There's really nothing more racist that you can say, and that was their doctrine. So the Confederate flag for a lot of people can represent, and I understand that, slavery and racism, and it's not wrong to see that. So again, I support taking it off American government. For me, the bigger issue is the rebellion over the slavery, because as much as we want to talk about how civilized we are now and how everything's so different, it really hasn't changed. If you study history and you look at it, you'll find that it continually repeats itself. And while we don't hold slaves now in this country, we do have cheap labor. And that is something we value in a capitalistic society. We don't want to pay workers. So now we outsource. So now Apple iPhones are made by little Chinese girls that are like 7 years old that we're paying like 4 cents an hour. That's, to me, essentially slavery. Now, it's not people we shipped in over here. We're not keeping them in cabins and feeding them pig's feet and whipping them and stuff. But there was an insurgency, if you will, at one of the Apple factories where the workers for Apple, what I'm on right now, where they threatened to kill themselves if working conditions did not improve. Now, they didn't threaten to walk out or unionize. They threatened mass suicide. And that tells me that the working conditions have to be awful, and at least on a comparative level to slavery. I mean, if you're saying, look, I hate this job, I'm going to kill myself.
Out of sight, out of mind.
Right. But it's, again, that is something that we push in this country very, very much. We just call it cheap labor or outsourcing. We wrap it up in a fancy term, but it's still slavery. You still don't want to pay.
Come on, we pick up day laborers in the back of trucks.
Yeah. No, whenever I have a project, I'm like, I talk big about how I don't like this.
Whatever corner, that's where the day laborers wait.
Oh, Home Depot. They wait out in the parking lot of Depot, and I'm always like, man, for $10 I can get like $1,000 worth of work off these people. I give them a sandwich, and they'd be happy. Yeah, I'm a hypocrite. I get it. But this divide in the Civil War between what we'll call, I don't know, maybe I don't want to say right versus left or liberal versus conservative, but there is this divide in America that's always been here. And that's what the Civil War was about. That's what politics are still about. And there seems to be a divide in this country by people who value the workforce, who want the labor force to at least be able to, get their weekends off and not commit suicide. And then there's another portion of this country that's like, hey, it's free enterprise, it's capitalism. If you make me pay you an increased minimum wage, I'll just go to China and get a 6-year-old girl and not pay her. And that's sort of the debate to me. While it's not as bad as a war breaking out like a civil war, it really is much the same. And I don't understand why people act like in 1865 when the war ended that there isn't this divide. In fact, if you look at any presidential election, you look at the states that vote red, which is Republican, which is more in line with, not paying too much to your labor force, much more about free market enterprise. That is a more conservative value. You'll see the states that are red are identical if you lay it over a map of the states that tried to secede during the Civil War. And yeah, it's a comparison. Not saying that everyone is, that the modern Republican is a, Confederate, but there is this basic ideal and split in this country, and I just see it repeating. And I don't think taking down the flag is going to make that go away. So that's all.
You don't support banning the flag altogether, like on Dukes of Hazzard.
No, it's a fucking show.
Like Amazon
no, exactly.
Any Confederate flag products from their site.
I think that's stupid.
Well.
I think that's stupid. I know Assassin's Creed, one of my favorite video games, they were planning a Sons of the Confederacy, I think it was called. They just canceled that. They put a bunch of, millions of dollars into developing this game, and then when this thing broke out, they canceled it. And I don't care.
Well, what about all these Confederate, those, like, the goobers and then little boys want to go to those Confederate war reenactments?
Yeah, no problem with that.
Can they not use the flag anymore? Can they not do it anymore? Like, what? Don't erase history. Like, and I know that's one of the weird things people say to try to have an excuse to keep the Confederate flag that sounds very Confederate.
Mm-hmm.
But it's true. Like, I don't like erasing any history. Yeah, it should remind people of, when I see people flying one, it just makes them look bad. I think, oh, that's some hick racist. So,
yeah.
I mean, if they really choose to fine, but they're the one that it shames upon, that person.
And again, for a lot of people, the Confederate flag in the South represents, heritage and history. And I don't think they're sitting there going, God damn, I wish I could have some slaves right now. I don't think they're all that way. I don't think they're all racist, naturally. And to them, it's like, it's a source of pride. This is what our values are. This is what it represents. But you can't ignore history, and you can't make it away. You can't just fucking wish it away or, pull it off the shelf so no one has to look at it and then pretend like all of a sudden every bad thing that ever happened in history is now magically erased. I think that's the flaw in the thinking. I think, that's the big mistake. In fact, I found this out. I don't know if you know this, but Huck Finn, written by Mark Twain, classic American literature. I don't know if you ever read it, but it was Huck Finn.
I think I did.
Yeah, he's escaping with a slave, right? They're in the Mississippi River.
The N-word in it.
Oh my God! Like every other word in that book is nigger. And what happened is that was the time. It was written at that time, and
that's how they talk.
Yeah, and they had a friendship, and that was an important part of history. They are now trying, certainly in the public schools and other places, to republish Huckleberry Finn without the word nigger in it.
Oh, wow.
They want to change it to write the N-word. So every time Huck Finn talks about, I think Tom, I don't remember the slave's name, because it's a slave. Well, I remember his name, right? Whatever that slave's name was, they want to say the N-word. And I mean literally write out THENWORD.
Wow.
And now they're messing with art and art history, because Mark Twain is a revered and beloved author in this country. And now you're going to change actual words in his book because it makes you more comfortable now. I think that's insane. So there's a lot of things to this issue. I don't think anything's fixed. I don't think anything's solved. I think both sides have good points on it. I think let's just pull it off government buildings because it represents a rebellion that failed. We wouldn't support any other rebellion in this country. And leave it at that. And let's also not ignore that the Confederates, in their policy, believe the Negro to be an inferior species, which is not something that anyone supports these days, except for me privately.
Well, and those KKK type deep in the South.
Yeah, but nobody likes them. I mean, you never hear anybody defend a KKK guy.
I think we hate them as much as any other hate group.
That's how far we've come. We all hate the KKK. It's a good thing. So anyway, that's my take on the Confederate flag. And like always, whenever Frank has an opinion on anything, I end up alienating myself with everybody because I never really take a complete side. And it seems like I'm a fence sitter, but I just see things bigger. I'm smarter than you. What do you want?
Well, didn't I send you that meme of the pyramids? And saying, about the Confederate flag, like, so are we going to have to take down these now?
And they are a symbol of slavery. They were built
by slaves.
Yeah, they were built by slaves. That's a very good point. Although, I think like 3,000 years of Egyptian history is probably going to hold up a little bit better than, 4 years of a civil war.
Right. As long as we're not destroying them, I'm with you. Take it off the government building. But if we're going to start destroying them and pretend like it never happened, that's weird.
It's just stupid. It's just not. You're not thinking. You're being completely emotional reactive if you're someone that thinks pulling the Confederate flag is going to end all of history and all of racism. You're stupid, you're naive, and you're immature if you think that's really going to happen. Another thing is if you're trying to rewrite history and have everyone agree on the fact that something that happened didn't happen, well, now you're living in a fucking dream world, and nobody's going to respect you. You're pushing an insane agenda. What you should say is we should keep the Confederate flag up to remember what happens when people rebel from the Union. We will destroy you. We will ruin you. Put it up. Then I'm fine with it. Look at these Confederate douches that tried to leave America, and we kicked their ass. That would be cool. Leave it up. All right, moving on. I think you need to tell me a little what's going on with you, because you're not supposed to be here, and you were supposed to take the summer off to be with your kids, and then you were only gone 1 week. What's going on?
I
can't move.
be available this Saturday because my boys had some taekwondo stuff going on. But yeah, we were gone the last 2 days, and I just had a free day, and it worked out because Ned's gone.
Well, he'll be here soon.
I spent 6 years in college just to get a teaching credential and a bachelor's degree to teach. And I remember one of my classes, they asked you, it's like so generic question, but then it really made you think, was, why do you want to be a teacher? And I sat there and thought of all those amazing reasons and to grow the mind of a child and blah, blah, blah. And my first reason, I said number one was so I could be home with my children when they're out of school.
Oh,
and
that's
I said,
nice.
and number two, because it's a job that I like and I can do and I enjoy teaching children. But number one, this is the career I picked. Otherwise, I think I would have been a pediatrician. I have a memory of a autistic person. No offense, that's a compliment.
Yeah, it is.
And I just can remember and retain anything that matters to me or to what I'm doing. So I do love children, and I would have loved to have been a doctor, but I realized I'd be gone, and that would take 10 years of school, and then I'm completely unavailable. So
did you attack a mongoloid, though?
Would I?
Did you?
Oh, you're talking about my trip?
Yeah, I'm setting you up for your story.
I did not attack.
For those,
I just want to tell you why I'm off for the summer, because that was why I picked my career. So it's not going to stop because I do a radio show.
Gotcha. No one cares about that. So you attacked a kid with Down syndrome.
A Down syndrome child.
Now let's just be honest.
There was about and I don't know if and everyone knows, but Down syndrome kids are really stocky and strong and big.
Yeah, they have those big heads. They look like grapefruits.
I was in like a toddler area of a water park with my son. We'll call him Ocean.
Uh-huh.
And this other little boy had Down syndrome, obviously, and he was like 4 times his size and weight, or probably 500 times.
Well, their skulls are really thick.
Oh, and just strong. Just just a big middle strength. But anyway, so he's 6 and he wanted to play and do the same thing my son's doing. So I was teaching. They had the same mentality. 2 years old, my son and this boy.
How old was this boy?
Probably 6-ish, 7.
Yeah, that's pretty scary.
Yeah, so he wanted to play with me the same way my son was, like spraying water or whatever, and he'd laugh and he'd try to take my son's spot. So I'm trying to teach him and my son at the same time how to take turns while the dad sits on the bench, the 60-year-old dad, whatever he was. And so he's sitting on the bench doing nothing. But so making him take turns, I'm like, nope, I had to kind of put my arm out, wait your turn. And then he'd wait, and I'm like, 20 seconds later, take turns. Well, then he puts his hand on my kid. And then I just changed. Yeah, I was like, I took his hand off and kind of moved him away and said, you don't touch him. We take turns. Like I was right in his face like some psycho. But really, I would treat anybody that way. So I started to realize that I am actually more involved because I will treat everyone the same. And I have worked with special needs kids, and they are very hard on those kids. And they treat them with the dignity of expecting that they can change and behave themselves.
So you're saying why you push this mongoloid around? It's because you're more evolved, is what you're saying.
I am.
Because
I'm definitely more involved. Because I think other people have just taken their child away and said, "Let's go," like just uncomfortable and weird.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I wasn't uncomfortable at all. I was ready to mediate and help them play. But once he put his hands on my kid, like any kid, I said, "You don't touch. Not okay." And his dad was fine with that, kind of walked him away after that, which he should have. But, so I'm very equal. There's also probably like a 5-year-old Asian kid.
Wait, did you push the mongoloid?
Had to physically scoot him a little bit, not push.
Oh, my God, you pushed a retarded boy in the sand today. Why are you trying to put up euphemisms? Just be honest.
Because I had to get him away from my son, so I physically had to move him away. So that's not pushing.
Okay.
I didn't shove him.
Would you have? What if he tried to...
If no one was looking? No,
no, exactly. That's what I'm asking.
No, I wouldn't. I would physically restrain him.
Well, maybe you are evolved.
Yeah.
Well,
I was trained.
I
was trained with special needs kids.
Well, obviously that's why we get along. What happened with the Asian kid?
Well, there was like a 5-year-old Asian kid, same thing. My son goes over to touch something, and he shoved him. And this one, there's no parents around. So I look at him right in the face, and I was so nice until he did that, of course. And I look him right in the face, I'm like, that's not nice. You're not a nice boy. You don't push little kids. And they just kind of walked away.
So Asian kids, Mongoloid kids, and standard everyday normal kids, you're saying you treat them all the same?
I treat all people and children the same, and I think by doing that, people think you're mean. I'm like, no, he deserves the same respect as that other kid, so I'm going to tell him no, because that's not okay. Otherwise, he's going to end up shoving kids around. I've seen a lot of Down syndrome kids, and some are total assholes, and some are sweet, loving, just, teddy bears that play in the sandbox all day. And I think it's how they're taught. I think they do still need discipline.
You sound like a weird
I don't care
perv.
if they're brain damaged. They need discipline.
I'm with you. Actually, I'm teasing you, but I think it's good that you pushed this retarded kid. Yeah, I mean, I honestly think you did the right thing, because I think a lot of people are so scared about how they're going to look and being politically correct and not looking bad that they end up doing things much worse, like they're enabling bad behavior. And to say, no, this kid may be a Mongoloid, but he's...
Mongoloid, you're going to get in trouble.
No, Mongoloid's not a bad word.
It is now.
It is? When did that happen?
Yes. I mean, it just is. They don't call it at all. It's Down syndrome. It's the real syndrome.
Oh. Shit. All right. So this Downsy kid that you pushed around, is Downsy bad?
I have no idea.
It's probably bad. Whenever you add a Y to things, it's bad.
Probably. You should just be formal.
Okay, so this kid with Down syndrome that you pushed around, I think it's good. You recognize that they're individuals. Like some kids with Down syndrome are like the sweet, like quirky, if you will. And then there's other kinds that are like, like a rabid dog that have to be.
And he was verbal. Some aren't verbal. He was verbal, so he knew what I was saying. So I treated him like a 2-year-old, just so you know. Like the 5-year-old, who was probably close to the same age as the Down syndrome boy, I treated like a 6-year-old that's being mean to a 2-year-old. This boy, I understood that he had the mentality of a 2-year-old, and a 2-year-old can hear the words no and take your hands off.
Well,
so yeah, I am way more evolved than most people.
I'm impressed with your evolution as a human being. That's all I want to say.
Thank you.
We got to tell people we started a little late. We don't have the chat working, right, Ann?
No, I'm in the process of trying to update my computer. It won't let me in chat without the new Flash.
So we can't get in it, and I'll never go into chat. As I say,
text me,
that's just stupid.
And then they can message me.
Yeah, you can text Ann if you're lucky enough to have her number, or you can tweet her at Ann_Starling if you have any questions. And also the number is, if you want to call, is 855-920-9922. I recognize our energy is a little low today, both of us. It's been a long week, and sometimes with this show, like we hit home runs and we're kicking ass, and other times it's like it's hard to always be up and energetic. I'm trying to drink. I've been drinking. And I've had a lot of coffee, and I was thinking maybe I would get up, but I feel like right now I just feel really tired. So I apologize if we're dragging.
You're just a lazy fuck, though. I've had 2 days of amusement parks with 3 children, drove to San Diego, and back on each day.
Well, I've been masturbating a lot.
Oh, that's true. I told you what Ted Bundy said.
What?
That every single serial killer rapist had a huge porn addiction. So just be careful. I just wanted you aware of that.
I haven't been masturbating to porn. I've evolved past porn. I've been using my imagination lately. Yeah, it's different. Like, I feel like kind of mature.
Huh.
I feel like I'm growing as a man. Like, it
Don't
takes.
tell the feminists, so that's rape.
No, I think feminists will be happy because, like, where I usually was like, oh, I just have to see like a boob or a butt cheek, and then I would go to town. In a matter of seconds, I would spew everywhere, and I'd be like, oh, and I would feel better, and I'd go about my day. And that's kind of how I viewed, the entire approach to it. Like, oh, this is just a means to an end. Look at something, and then jerk. And then I was like, it's kind of like, when I thought about it, kind of like how a rat, like a lab rat, the one that's like the scientist is poking, giving them cheese. Like, it's all about instant gratification and positive reinforcement, and then they're not really enjoying the finer things in life. Not that a rat could in a cage in a lab, but I can. So I've been making a real effort. It wasn't my choice. I didn't have much of a choice, but I'm just saying I've been going with the times now to be a little bit more, open-minded and use my imagination. And I've been masturbating a lot. It's been crazy. So I haven't had really any time to plan this show. I think next week's will be better. I think I've calmed down. But you should be happy. I've pretty much moved past porn, Ann.
Wow.
Right?
That's great. You must be listening to or watching Mr. Rogers in your imagination.
Imagination. No, it's really cool. I had no idea. Like, it's so much better. That's how women masturbate. Like, you guys have, like, fantasies, and it's feeling. You could read a book like 50 Shades and diddle your bean all day to it. I think that I thought, like, 6 months ago that was ridiculous. Like, there's no pictures of a butt. How do you jerk off the letters? But now I get it. Like, you feel passion. It's cool. It's a big thing. But I have to tell you, you have a problem with porn. You've always had a problem with porn. Your husband got busted putting porn on your TiVo that your kids accidentally found, so I can understand why you'd be a little sensitive. But if you're honest with me, now look at the energy level picking up. We had to get off the Confederate flag shit.
You might need to get off the phone.
Oh, I'm going to get off.
Oh.
No, dude. You have this feeling that porn is causative, that if you watch porn, that it can make someone go violent. Like, you think Ted Bundy was like this normal dude one day, like, oh,
I'll tell you exactly.
Hey, what's this? A butt? Oh, let me jerk. Oh, now I want to strangle and rape everyone. That's what you think. And I'm telling you, that's not right.
What I'm saying is, I actually don't think that. I'm saying that's what he said. What I'm saying is, it's difficult for you to make the stance, which we do a lot on.
Oh God, here we go. We're gonna get in an argument. God damn it.
Xanax and psych meds and stuff, and shooters. How those are always going hand in hand. Always meaning 99%. a mass shooter is on meds. Now, we just had a mass shooter that wasn't on meds, probably. But
Well, that we know about. But he was a Muslim.
he's a terrorist.
Yeah.
Totally different.
We need
But
Muslim
anyway,
control in this
these
country.
mass shooters that are white boys that are 20 to 25.
Yeah, they're on drugs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so, but people will say to you, their argument against that is like, but look at all the people that are on drugs that don't shoot people. So I'm saying that logic, take it to Ted Bundy's logic that all these serial rapists watch porn, hardcore porn. Like, he's talking like the violent kind to where it doesn't satisfy them and then they go to the next level.
Yeah, that's the best
Starts
kind. Yeah, I love those
Yeah,
porns.
so those choking porns and all that.
Oh, I'm getting
They're
aroused.
fantasy.
Right.
So I'm saying, if he's saying the same thing you're kind of saying about meds and shooters, or that we say,
Yeah.
he's saying the same thing about porn and serial rapist killers.
Let me translate you, because you're a female and your intelligence level's like 20, 30 points lower than mine. And people that are listening to the show kind of have come to expect a level of intelligence, especially since I did the show on my
Well,
own.
they hate you right now. So,
They hate me. Why?
I haven't figured it out yet.
Yeah, don't even try. It just happens. No, what I'm saying is, I
They're
understand.
saying you're too good for chat since I can't do it. Like,
Oh, I'm not. It's not about being too good for chat. I'm too sensitive for chat. I'm a big baby. Like, I went in chat when I tried to do a show on my own chat, and I was like, I thought I said something really smart, and I went in the chat and I have this problem where I sort of, I have a healthy imagination, and I think like everyone thinks I'm amazing, and like I'm changing lives every word I change. Like, when I do this show, I hear people going, "Oh my God, he's so right. I'm going to go out and change my life." And then, so when I go in the chat, I have this expectation that people are going to be talking about what a genius I am, because that's how I feel. I am a genius. I'll go in there, and 90% of the time, they're not even listening to me. They're just talking about their own fucking pathetic, worthless lives that don't matter. I am the fucking leader here. I'm the important person here. And they're talking about their little lives, which I don't care about. And not just that. Sometimes they'll be like, Jake's stupid. Or Frank. Who's Jake? They'll be like, Frank's stupid. And then I get in my head, and I'm like, oh my God, they don't like me. And then I can't do the show. It's not about being too good. It's about being too sensitive. Okay? I'm a Cancer.
all right.
Anyway.
You big bitch.
Hey, babe. Porn. Your argument is...
Hey, babe.
My wife just walked in. Your argument about... I am...
Remember, it's not mine. I'm saying the comparison of the two are so similar. that
They're
you
not
can
similar, and I'll tell you.
tell.
But I got, again, I have to translate your lesser lady brain for people that are listening. What Anne is trying to say is I make the case all the time about a link between meds and shootings, and that I say meds are causative. And when somebody says to me, well, not everyone on meds shoots people, I always go back to the fact that 96% of these shooters were on meds, and the fact that these meds themselves have known side effects that cause homicidal mania and make you shoot people. So I've drawn that link, okay? Now, what Anne's saying is when she talks about Ted Bundy, who's a known and famous serial rapist, one of my favorites, by the way.
Me too. He's the hot one.
He's on the Mount Rushmore rapists, in my opinion. People will look at that and go, and we found a video where he was talking about how he had a nice upbringing, he was the perfect little angel baby, and then he started getting into porn, and then he started watching more and more violent porn, and then porn wasn't enough, and then he had to go out and choke somebody, and then he had to go out and kill and rape them. And Anne sent me this, like, hey, look, I told you all these years that porn makes you rape people. And and now she's trying to tell me, when my argument at that point was porn is not causative. A lot of people look at porn and don't kill people. And she says, look, you're doing exactly what you're saying. Look, you're doing exactly what you do about meds. Now, I'll tell you where you're wrong and flawed and female. Porn is not causative. And the definition of causative is causal. It causes things, right? So a medication that causes homicidal mania will cause you to be a homicidal maniac. Porn is not causative. There's no study that says...
I've heard porn rewires the brain, for sure. Definitely. If a child watches porn, they're instantly sexualized and it changes their brain. Yes, sir.
Here's what I believe. I believe that when you watch porn, yes, you need deeper and deeper, or I shouldn't say deeper and deeper. You need to up the game, so to speak. Like, after a while, you can jerk off to, like, an underwear ad. And then, like, 2 weeks into that, then you want to see the girl naked. Then it's lingerie. Then it's, like, next thing you know, you want to see her, being tied up and beaten, right? There's that natural progression. And I can see that porn could make somebody who's sexually frustrated more violent in their mind. I will agree with you on that. But I don't think it'll make you jump and go, okay, now I'm going to go out and rape a bunch of women and pretend that my arm's broken and put them in my Volkswagen Bug and rape them. I don't think it causes you to actually cause harm to somebody. You might be jerking off to weird shit. I'll give you that. Your fetishes might be weird. I will give you that. But you're not going to go out and cross that line and actually hurt somebody because of porn. It's not causative in that sense.
That's what you think.
That's what I think, yes. And if there's a study out there to disprove it, go ahead and tweet it to Ann, or again, call in 855-920-9922. But know that I know what I'm talking about, and there is, in fact, no study that will disprove me. So that's where your logic...
to find a study where porn changes the wiring of the brain.
Yeah, but changing the wiring of the brain, see, this your lady brain is conflicting again with you, Ann. You're having lady brain problems. Rewiring a brain does not mean raping and killing people. Okay? They're not the same.
It sexualizes a child to see a porn. That does something to their sexuality, and for that to happen at an early age,
right,
can definitely make them sexually strange, or not. You know, just like the meds. I think it can go. It's the same defense, and I don't think you're.
No, because what you're missing is that medications' known side effects has been proven in the laboratory under studies. They are known to cause homicidal rage and mania. Okay, they cause it. There is no study that says porn causes that. Sorry, Ned's here. That's what that buzzing was. Hey, Ned, is your microphone on?
Testes 1 2 3. Testes
okay,
1 2 3.
Good. All right, now we can get the show going. Thank you for coming. Ann and I are having an argument about porn, so feel free to. Yeah, I know it's getting hot in here. It's getting. Ann thinks. Okay.
Not me. I'm saying you have to. Okay, you just explain it yourself, and I'll correct you where you're wrong.
You've got to learn how to think like an intelligent man, like I am. Okay. When I got that link from you about Ted Bundy, what was the first thing I did?
Save it?
No. I considered the source. I went to the URL and I said, who put this interview on? Who is out, what's the word I'm looking for? Disseminating, whatever? Who's putting this information out? And it was something.church.com. So it was funded by the Catholic Church. Now, a Catholic Church is not going to be an unbiased scientist in the look of porn. They have an agenda. They're against porn, and anything that comes out that says, hey, look how bad porn is, they are going to disseminate that information. They're not going to talk about how there is no link. So the first thing you got to do, Ann, to think like an intelligent man like myself, because you have a lady brain, is you got to consider the source. The source is the church. Now, it doesn't mean that the study is to be ignored. It just means it's already off the bat flawed. Okay, you have a biased reporter bringing it to you, so you got to consider that first. Second of all, this is Ted Bundy, a man who murdered and raped multiple women to the level where he became famous. He did it so much he became famous. Because, murder and rapes happen all the time. This guy is in the Mount Rushmore of murder and rapists, right? So he went to the next level. This is a guy who's not necessarily to be trusted. When he sits there in an interview with a church trying to get out on parole maybe and says, no, look what porn did. I was this wonderful guy. My parents were great. And all of a sudden I saw a woman's vagina and now I want to kill everyone. You've also got to consider that he may not be telling the truth. He may have an agenda himself. So there's two knocks against your study. And third, there is
no... my study.
Whatever. You're wrong. No, I'm just saying. It's not causative. It can give you fetishes. It can make your jerking off experience creepy at times. I know. I see the shit that Ned searches for. Sometimes during the show when he should be doing sound effects or sending me notes. And I look over, and you've been in here, Ann. You've seen what he does on his computer.
I've seen it.
So I can see that happens. But I don't think Ned is going to go rape and murder anyone because of this, is what I'm saying. Just like violent video games. I play Grand Theft Auto for hours on end. Yes, sometimes I drive like an asshole immediately after. Sometimes I do think that it'd be fun to drive over a hooker, but I never actually go to the next step. You know what I'm saying? I never go...
Okay, then I have a question for you. Here's what I would like to know.
7 inches.
No. If they didn't...
It is 7
serial
inches.
rapist killers like Ted Bundy, do you think that if they did not ever watch porn, that they would have done the things they did?
I do.
Would they still become a serial rapist killer?
I do think that, yes. I do. I really do. I think someone that would cross that line, that would cause that amount of pain to an innocent person, is not somebody that's going to be driven to that level just by seeing an image. I think they either are born insane or they were made that way. They themselves were traumatized or abused, and there's something taught to them that, women, for instance, are subhuman. much like in the South how you would say that Negroes are okay to enslave because they're subhuman. It can be taught. And it's my belief that Ted Bundy's parents were not these saints that said, oh, women are equal. I don't get that feeling. And if they were, I don't think he was around other people that felt that way. Somebody was giving him that message, I believe. Or he was just crazy, just a sociopath. But I don't think he was a normal guy with a good upbringing that had a strong understanding of right from wrong and saw a vagina on a videotape and then decided to go kill people. I don't. And that's, I don't. That's just, that's, there's no way. I watch a lot of porn. I have. And I've gone down that yellow brick road to some really creepy shit. And I'm telling you, I've never once looked at I've never looked at a woman as subhuman. Right. Even though you're not as smart as us. And your logical abilities are less. And you're not really good at math and things like that. I don't think you're lesser. I think you have other strengths.
I'm the best at math.
You guys are good at cooking, for instance? Good at, raising the babies? Housework, for instance?
It's very mathematical.
But with that said, no. But, again, you have 3 boys. Anne. And your oldest boy, let's call him... Toyota. That's racist.
No, because...
that's Japanese.
You know why? Get it?
I got it. Yeah, we'll call him Minnie. How about Minnie?
I have Ocean and Toyota. I haven't figured out my third kid's name.
He is going to be, in the very near future, I know this is hard to hear, and you just sit down for a second. How old is he?
Who? Which one? The oldest?
Yeah, the oldest.
10.
So in about 2 to 3 years, I'll give you 4 so you don't have a panic attack. He is going to be whacking his pud to, really disturbing shit. He's going to find it on the internet. First, it's going to start with, a girl dancing. And next thing you know...
Let's talk about Eli having a daughter.
It's going to be 2 girls, 1 cup, and he's going to be in his room jerking off to it. And you're going to walk in on it, much like what happened to Ned and his mom. But I'm just telling you, you can't look at him and go, oh my God, you're going to rape people if you do this. You have to understand it's a normal thing. Men are very visual, right, Ned? Come on in the conversation now.
I'll be very low-key about it. Trust me, I already have it. I've had to play it in my head a million times because I know if I didn't, I would freak out. I need to role-play it.
My advice...
I can practice on you guys.
No, I'll talk to him tim too if you want. I mean, I'm kind of his uncle in some way.
No way.
Oh, no, I'll handle it. Here's my advice to young boys. I got a young brother.
He comes home with a whole collection of, MP3 files.
Well, I'll get him the good stuff, the sensitive stuff. No, here's the thing I would tell young boys, and this advice I give to grown men, and I have a 20-year-old brother now. You've got to rotate your porn. Okay? Do you know what I mean by that, Ned?
Mix it up?
Yes, but there is a stage here of beginning, middle to end, and restarting. That a system which I have worked out.
I haven't heard of this system.
Okay, here's what you do.
Is it diversifying your portfolio?
No, because what's going to happen, especially today that you're plugged into the matrix of the internet, and you're a man, we're visual, right?
Yes.
There's nothing to be ashamed about. Yes, it's nice when you have an emotional connection with someone. It's beautiful. But sometimes you can look at a butt cheek and spew all over yourself, right? Yeah. Nothing wrong with it. That's how we're wired. We're men. So what's going to happen is you're going to see a physical specimen and you're going to get aroused. And it's going to turn you on.
Even if they're clothed.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And usually it starts like how it was when you were... Do you remember the first time you masturbated, or early on at least?
I remember it was a Playboy video.
Wow, nice. Mine was Channel 98. It was static.
Oh, the Spice Channel?
Yeah, but it was just sound. So anyway, I'm sorry. I'm jealous. I didn't have access to that, you fucking bastard.
That was a friend of mine's home.
Yeah.
And, anyways, I just remember that.
But there's no penetration in Playboy.
No, it's just visual.
There's no money shots.
Just a woman who's all dolled up, naked.
And that's beautiful. Women are beautiful.
Terrible music in the background.
Right. So that's how we enter as young men, right? Then we start. Okay, and then you get 14, 15, maybe you get a girlfriend, and then you want to learn a few tips. You don't want to just go down on her and be like, blah, 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 blah. You don't know what you're doing, so you'll watch a porn, which I think is also a huge mistake. Don't learn sex moves from a porn. But whatever. My point is you're getting into more and more explicit things. And now that we're in our mid-30s, Ned, we've been looking at porn for probably 25 years, is safe to say, right?
Yeah.
So we would both be lying to say that at some point we didn't go look at things that maybe we're even ashamed of that we put in our search bar.
Absolutely.
What's the worst thing you ever put in your search bar? The most embarrassing, I should say.
I don't really remember.
Bukkake News.
Yeah, sure.
Remember that?
Yeah, sure.
Anyway, check out Bukkake News if you're new to the internet. But anyway, you start getting into weird and weird shit. So here's my solution, because you don't want to continue down that path, Ned. And I would tell this to my younger brother and to Anne's 3 sons when they get old enough. Don't continue down that path, because you're going to get into weird shit. Here's what you do. When you start getting the thing where you're starting to search weird things, when you start to feel that feeling in your stomach like this is kind of gross, reset. You go back to where you were at 12, the first time you saw a bra and panty ad in a newspaper, and you make yourself jerk off to that. No porn, no XXX, no penetration, not even Playboy. Just a bra and panty. It's going to be hard at first. You're going to be kind of whack, and it's going to be like taffy at first, right? Mm-hmm. You're like, I could go right now and see a woman with a horse. You got to go through it the first time, and you got to do it until it becomes sexual again, because there is nothing more beautiful than a woman, and even clothed, as you said. So you get back into that. Now you've reset, okay?
Okay.
And now you can go back down. Then 2-3 months down the road, when you're typing in, midgets and animals,
right,
you go back to the bra and panty.
Okay.
It will save your life.
So you're falling back on what you originally started off with to sort of regain your mental capacity.
I would say you're getting in touch with your inner child.
Okay.
Which is really healthy in psychological terms.
Your inner child.
Find that inner child that used to get boners from bra and panties, and go back and find him. All right, enough of the...
Porn kind of desensitizes you, so you're kind of trying to resensitize.
It does, and it sucks because, as a man, or even just as a human, there's so much more to what is sexy than just what's visual, or even the act being performed. Like, even the flirtation aspects of something up to that point can be very erotic. They can. And I think as a society, a lot of us are missing out on that, especially men. I think men now, because they have such access to so much porn on the internet that's free on your phone. Like, you could be at work and go in the bathroom and watch XXX porn in a matter of seconds and work jerk, right? So we have like this tremendous it's amazing. The internet's amazing. And I just think a lot of us men are desensitized to the point where we're missing out. And that's why I don't think porn is good. But I don't think it makes you rape and murder people either, Ann.
That's what she thinks?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, you missed that.
No, I didn't say that.
Ted Bundy said that he was a normal guy, and then he watched porn, and then he wanted to watch women get choked, and then it was like bondage. And then he's like, yeah, I'm going to go rape and kill now.
But she says she didn't say that. What did you say, Ann?
He really is really bad at interpreting what people say.
What did you actually say?
Who cares? I mean, it wasn't me that said it.
Who cares? Made his last video interview where he said he went and spoke with, he noticed that he was speaking with all the other inmates that were in the same boat as him, serial rapist killers. They all had an escalating experience with porn, from normal porn to really
they didn't reset,
hardcore,
basically.
And they wouldn't get satisfied, and then they ended up becoming rapists. So I said that analogy, that is an analogy of what Frank and I say, I think you sometimes too, Ned, that meds, all the people that are shooters take meds. I said, it's similar, the comparison, and that it's causal.
So
if we say that meds are causal, then it sounds similar to say that Ted Bundy his little mini study is the similar way of saying that he was raping.
Basically, she's stupid,
Porn
right?
was causal, is what I'm saying.
Right.
The hardcore porn. That without it, he wouldn't have been that way.
She thinks Ted Bundy would have been like an upstanding model citizen if he didn't see
Maybe
porn.
a regular socio.
You know what you sound like? You sound like those church moms, like back in the 80s, that are like, oh my God, if you listen to fucking Judas Priest, you're going to go out and fucking kill everyone. Like, rock and roll's the devil. You know what you're doing? You're like, it's the devil. Like fucking the Waterboy.
Sorry, this is not rock and roll. This is like choke rapes on video.
First of all, it's very hard to find a real rape on the internet. Okay, it's illegal.
Well, he said hardcore. I'm sure he had some snuff film.
I mean, I've tried. It's very difficult. All right, Ned's here, so that was fun. But I think we're.
Well, I was thinking about when we first became friends. We were watching this caught on camera video, which showed like people crashing their cars or horrific accidents, and Jake and I sort of bonded.
Jake?
Sorry, whatever your name is, Frank.
Frank, that's me.
Sort of bonded by watching it. And you look at these videos and you're like, wow, it's a two-dimensional screen and it's real. We know what happened, but it doesn't feel real because we weren't physically there.
Right.
And then I remember not too long after, there was a librarian who happened to be obese at this high school we attended, and she tripped and fell on her face, and it was a pretty bad accident. And I ran up and wanted to make sure she was okay. And then after she was okay, I was like, okay, maybe I could laugh now.
Right. So you're saying
even though I was maybe like watching these horrible events, or maybe analogous to a woman getting choked in a porn.
Right.
You know, the more you see it, and you're like, oh, it doesn't feel real, even though you know it's already happened. But when you see something in real life and you react to it differently.
What Ned's trying to say, Ann, is that even though he was desensitized from watching people, and this caught on camera video, he didn't get into details, but let's just say, I mean, there were people dying.
Yeah.
And we thought it was hilarious. we really needed therapy.
Yeah.
But it didn't take away our humanity. If we saw someone hurt on the street, we were the first ones on the scene. We still had our compassion and our empathy.
Right, because us as individuals were able to separate ourselves
because you're not socios.
That's my point.
Right.
There you go.
There you go.
And just had a realization.
Listen.
You see how we helped a woman see the truth? It's possible.
I'm saying,
let her finish.
Either way,
I don't
what
let
Ted
women
Bundy's
finish.
saying is he was a socio.
Yes.
That's pretty much it.
Yes.
Socio plus hardcore porn, he's saying, creates rapists.
It was the socio in Ted Bundy that wanted to see women hurt.
If he didn't watch porn, I think he'd still be a socio and have no empathy for people.
Right.
And just live some lonely life. I don't know. But because he was exposed at a young age on his own research, he found all this stuff and he escalated. I think he's saying that the two together was dynamite.
What about this? Let's say Ted Bundy never saw porn. It's possible. It's possible that he would have done much more horrific things without that outlet. That's a possibility. I'm not saying that's what happened, Ann. I'm just saying it's possible that maybe it sort of eased his tension a little bit to see porn and jerk off, and then he was fine afterwards. Maybe if Ted Bundy didn't, he would have been the BTK killer. Or Dahmer. Maybe he would have eaten these women. Who knows? Maybe porn helped him.
Yeah. And then with the guy who dressed up as a clown.
Yeah, John Wayne Gacy.
30.
Didn't his parents kill his pets in front of him?
Yeah, probably. Probably. I mean, of course they did. Somebody did. Somebody fucked that guy up. You're not born that way. I don't buy that. But that's another show. So you get it now, right? Ted Bundy's a sociopath. The porn didn't get him there. He was born that way or made that way.
I believe he became a sociopath, and then the sociopath mixed with the hardcore porn. From what he researched in prison himself, which is not scientific, is what he's saying is that the way he was mixed with that is what created him. Yes, that's what he says.
I think, and sort of coming to for clarification here, I think she's also saying that it can't help with someone who's already a sociopath.
Right. I would agree with that, Ann. I'll give you that.
That's why, like, sex crime, what are they? Rapists, whatever they are, they're not allowed to ever have porn in their home again.
Right.
Nothing. Not even bra and panty lingerie pictures. They've been put back in prison for having, like, Mervin's ads.
Which I think is kind of insane. Because
ads.
now what are you doing? You're taking a sociopath and you're not giving them any sort of sexual release. I think that's a mistake.
Yeah.
I think they should be forced to watch porn all the time, but just not violent porn.
You're so nuts to think that would not escalate the sexual
Think about this.
behavior.
Think about you find a young Ted Bundy who's like, I want to choke and rape and kill bitches. And you're like, look, let's watch some fucking Cinemax late at night lovemaking porn. Because, there's different kinds of porn. And it's not all, butt sex and pooping. Like, there is very, very sensual softcore pornography. Like, if you go to Cinemax late at night, which I do when my wife's away, you'll find people really enjoying it. They're both enjoying it. It's consensual. There's music like, saxophone, like, it's slow-mo and her boobs. Like that, I think they should watch that. And then they learn to have a little bit of a, maybe a little bit more of a sensual approach. I just think, well, really, let's be real. A guy like that who would actually ever physically harm a woman or torture or kill her, he should just be killed. You find if we could find that gene, whatever it is, and somehow we could discover who these people are, they should just be shot on sight. That's the real solution. Okay, can we move on now? I've got the biggest boner right now from all that choke porn talk. We don't have much time left. I know I wanted to get into the Iran deal, but Ned, you don't want to do, right? You're just mad at Obama. Can you just tell me how mad you are at Obama?
I'm not.
It cracks me up.
I'm not like mad at him. His goal was to prevent Iran from having a nuclear bomb. He's met that goal.
Good,
but he hasn't. The Iranians they gain over $140 billion, and who knows where that money's going to go.
Right.
And it's a quick fix for the next it's just a delay in them developing weapons.
Gotcha.
After 5 to 10 years.
So you don't think anything's going to change? You think anything bad or inevitable has just been delayed?
Yeah. Okay. And in the meantime, the other Arab countries within the Middle East, they're going to want to build nuclear weapons themselves because they view Iran as a threat.
Can we talk about how we need Muslim control? in this world, in this country especially, instead of gun
does that
control. Like, they should be controlled. Like, they should be, they should have to register. They should be watched. They should be on government watch list. Because, again, there was another shooting, you know.
Yeah.
They are.
Another one. 4 Marines were shot. This story, it drives me fucking crazy because I argue with these fucking gun-grabbing nuts all the time. And again, you tell them every time, why do you think these fucking shooters choose a quote-unquote gun-free
It's a
zone?
gun-free zone. Okay.
Okay, now a lot of people hear when Marines are shot on base, they think, you know, a military base that Marines have their fucking AR-15s around them. They don't. They're not allowed to carry weapons on the base.
Especially at a recruitment center.
Except the military police on base.
Right. So when a Marine is shot on base and we're all like, oh, I didn't need to shoot him. He can't. He's disarmed. His gun has been grabbed. And I see it every fucking time. And just this last week, there's another thing. And this is the thing. A gun-free zone disarms the citizens to protect themselves. They're then shot and killed by a crazy fucking shooter. And then, if that's not bad enough and maddening enough, the fucking crazy gun-grabbing left, that portion of them that thinks, oh, the problem is that people have guns, they then start talking about more gun control. They use these stories to go, look what we have to do. Look, somebody just went in this area and shot all these people. We got to get rid of guns. And there is no part of them that thinks, wait a minute, maybe the fact that we disarmed the people who are being killed is the mistake. They just think, no, get rid of guns. Yes, Ned.
I just wanted to bring up 2 examples.
And he was a Muslim, too.
Since the people on the left
Muslims
have such confidence in government controlling us, especially with our, you know, weapons, whatever.
Right.
There's been 2 incidences. One, San Francisco, an apparent illegal immigrant murdered somebody, and you know how he got the gun? From a DEA agent from his freaking car. So that's a government official that he stole the gun from.
Right.
2, the situation in South Carolina. Dylan, whatever his Roof.
Storm Roof. I am Dylan Storm Roof.
He submitted an application for a weapon through the FBI, and he was still able to get the weapon because they fucked up.
Right.
So there's 2 examples right there of, you know, government having access to either weapons or a database that they should have known in advance to prevent such a tragedy.
Good point. I got in an argument. Actually, I didn't. That brilliant guy, Jake Pentland, who's been tweeting our show out all week. Guy's amazing.
I heard.
I watched his Twitter feed this morning, and some fucking gun grabber went after him and said, you know, talking about this shooting, saying, look, we need, you know, gun control because this guy had a gun. And Jake's response, which was so brilliant, was, yeah, let's trust the fucking government and the fucking federal department to take guns off the street because they did such a good job getting fucking drugs off the street. In fact, let's get the same team that got drugs off the street because there's no drug problem in America.
Right.
Government's on it. Right. They're not going to do it. That's the thing. If I had the faith in the government that they did, then that'd be
issue solved.
Well, I think we all agree. Like, fine, then gun control. Get rid of guns.
But I don't have confidence in their abilities to control situations.
Dude, go to the DMV for 15 minutes. These people are fucking borderline retarded.
Post office, DMV.
Yeah, they can't be trusted. I agree with you. I agree. And also, I don't like the notion of being in a situation where you're told you can't defend yourself. That's fucking the most base instinct that we have. And you are going to be disarmed so that you don't have an effective weapon, but any asshole can walk in here and shoot you and your 3 friends on a fucking Marine Corps base or a recruitment center. Sometimes it is a base. And there's not a goddamn thing you can do about it. And then worse, they're going to politicize these tragedies to try and get more gun control, even though right in their fucking face it's showing them how it doesn't work. It drives me crazy.
It is a shame that there's so many of these horrific events that involve guns, you know, and I think what you've been saying all along is don't just look at the actual guns involved. Look at the people's personal profiles. Look at their background.
Yes. Get to the source. Sometimes it's a fucking sociopath. Sometimes, like 97% of the time, if you could say sometimes, it's a fucking guy on goddamn drugs that the fucking therapist has put him on that is known to make you shoot people.
Right. Mind-altering drugs.
Right. Sometimes it's a goddamn fucking Muslim. God damn it. Why can't you say it? I'm not saying all Muslims will kill, but a lot of times these fucking shooters are goddamn Muslims who are doing it for goddamn Allah, and I think it's okay to admit that. Doesn't mean they're all bad, but some of them are bad because of their ideology, because
Muslim
of their culture.
Extremists. I mean, that's...
Whatever, yeah. Who cares?
To be more specific.
Yes, you're right.
If you talk to...
Can we just get...
We have a few people. If you talk to Muslims, former Muslims, they'll tell you actually the religion itself is a harmful religion. They do not treat women and children well. It's an abusive religion. So
do you know
we're supposed to respect it because because it's a religion.
As I go off on Muslims, I know I sound like Rush Limbaugh, and again, I'm not a right-wing nut job. I understand how crazy it sounds, but let me tell you, my fear of that religion and people of that religion is based off, as Ann pointed out, talking directly to people that grew up in that religion. If it was somebody on the outside going, look at these god-dang Muslims, of course it's always got to be a southern accent. We have interviewed on the old show a woman who is, had her vagina sewn shut and her clit cut off. She grew up in Africa as a Muslim, and she has since escaped to America and found, freedom here. And those people are the ones that talk to me and say, dude, I'm telling you, we talk about how it's a peaceful religion. I promise you it's not. I grew up in it. It is not peaceful. This is tenements. This is what we're taught. This is what we believe. And it's fucking terrifying. It's actually Muslims that have been talking to me. Privately, they don't want to say it because they don't want to get their fucking head cut off or thrown off a goddamn building or set on fire. But they're the ones that are terrifying. And again, I know there are a lot of people that identify as Muslims that are wonderful people. I don't have a problem with you. Whatever. But to ignore the connection between these shootings and that religion, I think is just stupid. I think it's a mistake. Just like how you wouldn't, ignore the connection between every sort of financial collapse with the Jews. Right, Ned? I mean, it would be ignorant and naive to just sort of skip over the fact that these are always manufactured by the Jews. Right, guys?
You're nuts.
Whatever.
All right. Well, I think we could wrap it. Can we talk about Caitlyn Jenner? I hate to do pop culture, but I watched the ESPYs. Ned made me watch them. And I don't know, you noticed, Ned has been living with me for the last 6 days.
I think you told me that was going to happen.
Yeah.
Something's going on where they needed.
It's Ned and his wife and me and my wife and our 2 dogs and our 2 cats in this house. It's been for 6 days. It's been actually really nice. There's been very little drama, if there's been none, actually. It's been really cool. I like having you guys here. With that said,
thanks, Frank.
He made me watch the goddamn Caitlyn Jenner ESPY speech, which I did not want to watch. Because I don't like the fact.
I did not see it.
Yeah, I didn't like the fact. And Ned
I thought it would be good content for your show.
Yeah, and thank you, because we're going to finish the show up with it. Ned has an opinion that I think probably a lot of people listening to the show, if they're still listening now, I haven't hung up, that it's wrong that Bruce/Caitlyn is being honored with a Courage Award when he was up against a man that lost his limbs in war, so on and so forth. And then is it really courageous to go be a transsexual? Sorry. And I watched it, and I can understand that approach. I can understand how someone would look at this and go, man, this is a PR move. This is a feel-good story. This is an agenda-driven story that we're all being force-fed so that we all love transsexual people, blah, blah, blah. But I gotta say, after watching that, even though I didn't really like his speech, and I also noticed that he looks like Buffalo Bill. I'm sorry, Fire Marshal Bill.
Fire Marshal Bill.
Fire Marshal Bill, because he's got that paralyzed eye. And I just see Jim Carrey going, let me tell you something, every time he talks, but that's besides the point. I'm watching it, and I gotta say, I think Caitlyn Jenner is fucking courageous, and I think she goddamn deserved this goddamn award. What do you think of that, Ned?
Well, as I told you, I finally agreed with you.
Well, pretend like we haven't had this debate already.
Oh,
dumbass!
I can't, because I have to just be myself. I can't pretend I'm someone.
Well, it's entertainment. Sometimes you gotta.
Oh,
sometimes
I thought we were just being honest.
Thanks for being real, Ned. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
All right. Well, for those of you who don't think he deserved this award, or she, or it, whatever it is, deserve this Courage Award. I think she does, because, tell you, everyone acts like, oh, it's just so
Well, she
easy.
does, because I like the fact that Caitlyn's bringing up awareness of some of these horrible events that took place with other people around this country, and he's bringing it up as a national issue so people are more aware of it. That in itself, I guess, is important. Sure.
Yeah, it's not just someone going up there either and talking about it, going, hey, we've got to understand transsexual. This is a dude who cut off his penis.
I don't think he cut it off yet.
Well, he's going to.
How do you know?
Because, whatever. My point, okay, then he looks like a female Fire Marshal Bill, whatever. He's gone through surgeries. He's gone through humiliation. He's been divorced 3 times. He's got titties. He went on Diane Sawyer's show and talked about how he's a woman by all accounts.
His Adam's apple shaved.
He shaved his fucking Adam's. The point is, this is a man a woman,
Just call her Caitlyn, so you don't have to say him or her.
Thank you. This is a person standing by their beliefs and going through what is a very, very a courageous act, and it's an ordeal. Lest we think that going through a sex change is easy. It's not easy. It's not like you just go to the mall and you buy a goddamn voucher and you get your sex change. It takes years. It's painful. It's punishing. It's drugs. It's hormones. You lose your family, your friends. A lot of them commit suicides. I think it's very courageous what Caitlin's done.
Quick question. Quick question.
I say it with love.
Which bathroom does he use?
It uses the female bathroom now.
Even though he has a dick?
I don't think he has a dick.
I'm
She
okay
has a
with
dick.
someone like her using it. It's
Yeah.
the people that are wearing hairy legs, like that's when it's like, whoa. Like, but she pulls it off, even if you say she looks like Fire Marshal Bill, that's the eye. But Caitlin pulls it off, so I wouldn't even look twice.
Me
like,
either.
It wouldn't even faze me, as long as she keeps her weenie in. That's all. Like, don't show us your weenie in the changing room. That's the part I do have a line. I don't want to see weenies. I see them enough.
The fear about the man in a woman's bathroom is that it's just a standard pervert saying, oh, I feel like a woman today, like me, and just putting on a dress and then watching women pee and jerking off. That's what women are afraid of when a transsexual woman comes in the bathroom, quote unquote, is that they're lying. You know, what's to stop you and I from putting on a wig and saying I feel like a woman today and going in the woman's bathroom, right?
Right.
So that's the fear, and I think that's a just fear. I think you should be fucking terrified because you don't know if this person's someone that has gender issues or if they're just a fucking pervert. But when you look at Caitlyn Jenner, you go, this person obviously feels like a woman on the inside. They're shaving their goddamn neck off. They're injecting shit in their lips. They're getting titties. They're eventually going to cut their dick off. They're getting divorced. They're crying about their family. Obviously, this is a person I don't need to worry about just being a standard run-of-the-mill perv coming in and showing their dick. Right?
Yes.
Is anyone left listening, or do we lose everyone?
No, you have our a few of our core.
There's like 4 people.
It is.
Hardcore.
You know, I'm really proud of this show and the fact that 4 people listen. It makes me feel really good. Just want you to know that.
Great.
I'm glad that you guys stick with me every weekend for 4 fucking people.
Well, I miss it when I'm gone, and I'll be missing it for a few
Are you
days.
not coming back for a while?
Well, anytime I can on a Saturday, I'll call if you need me to.
Should we move the day?
No. Nope.
Some people think we'd do better at night because
I could see that.
Because this is kind of a late night show feel.
Yeah, and plus people aren't listening to podcasts on a Saturday during the day.
That's true.
But podcasts ultimately are meant to be played back. Live
yeah,
is
but maybe
fun.
we should post it at night and be like, check out this hot night show, and not tell people.
Well, I mean, like,
reposting it on a Thursday night would be good.
Okay.
I had a dream last night that you got a job at Sirius.
That would be amazing.
And you became known as the Stern disciple.
That would be
like you were the one carrying the torch.
That will never happen, but
for
I
what
appreciate it.
Howard had started.
What would I do with my cats though if I moved to New York?
They would obviously be killed or moved, somewhere else.
You know what? Fuck it, it's
You
worth
have
it.
all small animals. They can stay with you.
I don't think a dog should be in a little tiny apartment with 2 cats. So I'll have to kill a dog.
Depends on the dog.
Come on, your dog basically is in an apartment.
She shares a space with their cats.
Maybe I'll leave the dog and my cats here, and you and my wife can watch them, and I'll just move to New York.
Or you can just bring your animals to New York. I don't understand.
I don't want my wife there.
All right.
Just
Go to
kidding.
a suburb and get a little home.
I will. I know exactly where I'm moving in New York. I love New York. All right, well, let's give me that job so I can move there.
It was a pleasant dream.
It was.
Did you wake up with a boner?
It's never going to happen. It's just like, I'm 37 years old, guys. I mean, come on.
Yeah, well, it's a good attitude you have.
It is a good attitude. Thank you.
Yeah.
It's called realistic. We're never going to go anywhere.
Yeah.
No one listens to the show.
There's less disappointment if you say that. You're right.
No, it's
well,
just
it protects him from feeling like a failure, even though he's not.
Oh, it's so fucking hot in here. I think we should wrap up. I'm sweating.
Sounds good.
You look horrible.
So gross. Are you guys going
Why?
to go masturbate?
Can I talk about your poop stain I saw on your underwear?
No, that's weird.
Too late.
Yeah.
Ned came out in the
Are you
morning.
guys having sex now?
No, he came out in the morning with me. We were feeding our dogs, and he turned around and had poop stain in his underwear.
He came on his undies?
Yeah, he was like picking his
that's
butt.
really, really... You guys are gay. It's really weird. I really think so. I think
Remember, it's an Alias show. Don't get mad,
explore
Ned.
that avenue just a little bit.
We've all pooped our pants. Don't be embarrassed. I don't think it's
Is that why you wear black boxers?
Actually, yeah, I do wear colored boxers. If that does happen, white boxers are just stupid, dude. What are you thinking?
I just like the fact that it reflects sunlight.
What do you mean by that?
This when you
Do you
whenever
wear
when you wear a white T-shirt or when you're on a
All right,
roof.
this is a perfect time for me to go. My baby's crying, and you guys have some things to do with each other.
Okay.
Oh,
All
she
right.
thinks it's weird because that we're. Like,
Well, it's weird that you think what you wear under your
together
pants.
is weird. I don't care about the poop stains.
Yeah, poops. Don't be embarrassed. I mean,
I'm embarrassed.
You're not?
I am.
Why are you embarrassed?
I don't want people to know that.
That you what? Have poop on your underwear?
Yeah.
You don't think people have poop on their underwear?
No, I don't. I think they're better.
Dude, Anne, our bestie, shits her pants like 3 times a week.
I do.
She does?
Yeah. Do you
I
know?
don't remember that.
No.
Oh my God! Just yesterday, you and I were test driving cars. Remember, I kept scratching my butt saying how my butt itched.
Yeah.
That's because I was not clean. If I had white
Okay.
underwear.
I have to go. My baby's crying.
Bye, Ann.
Just kidding, you're a
Enjoy
freak.
your
I would never do that.
pooping.
I have perfect hygiene. All right. Well, thank you very much for the 4 people that are loyal to the show. I appreciate all 4 of you. And this podcast will be up soon. I don't think you have a song to play out, do you?
Oh yeah. If you want me to.
Yeah, play out a song. We haven't had you haven't been here, so I want people to hear my fabulous singing voice if they're new to this show. God, working at Sirius would be amazing.
Ladies and gentlemen,
My voice is sexy.
welcome to the very first underground podcast.
Anne and Frank. It's the Anne and Frank. Anne and Frank show. Frank should be first. Anne and Frank. It really should be Frank and Anne. But Anne and Frank's funnier. Why are we underground exactly? Well, let me explain it to you as quickest and best way I can. We did a real show for 3 years. It was immensely popular, as long as you didn't look at our numbers. And we told the truth week in and week out. And that pissed off a lot of people, because if you want to piss off people, you know what you do? You tell the truth, and that's what we did. But we were forced into hiding because we were threatened to lose our jobs. We were threatened with CPS. We were even shown our home addresses by these fat sons of bitches that didn't like.
The leader in talk radio on the internet, right here on K98Talk.com.
When our water heater broke down last month, it was a nightmare. It took 5 hours for the plumber to show up, and he charged us a couple of $100 just to come out. And then it cost another $1,800 to put in the new water heater. By the time it was all said and done, I felt like I'd been taken. But what else could I do?
The smartest thing you can do is get a home warranty from American Residential Warranty. Their home warranties pay to repair or replace all your major appliances when they break, and they will break, and at the worst possible time. Call American Residential Warranty right now for free information on home warranties starting at just pennies a day. Don't wait for your refrigerator to stop running or your ceiling fans to stop turning. Call American Residential Warranty right now. Ask how you can save up to 50% on washer and dryer coverage. Just call 1-800-513-6154. That's 1-800-513-6154. Again, 1-800-513-6154. Call now.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 1-800-516-7602 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 1-800-516-7602 to take your call right now. Call 1-800-516-7602. That's 1-800-516-7602. Again, 1-800-516-7602.